So I'm Teal. I've been leading the Pocket Places project since I guess 2017 when we started the Pocket Places project. We have 955 little free libraries in town. There's 31 for seeds and plants, 25 for puzzles and board games, 13 for art and art supplies, and 6 for yarn. And this year we hit a massive milestone. We now have 1,000 little free libraries. And some of you are, that is a point of celebration. we threw a massive celebration on September 20th. Thank you so much to everyone who came out to that. And then one of the initiatives that we launched was the Little Free Library Awards. And it's a way of celebrating all the placemaking that takes place in our community. And this year, it was our first year. We had 200 voters and 59 nominees. And I do want to start by saying every Little Free Library is special in its own way. And by showcasing some of these amazing Little Free Libraries, in no way do we want to say that every little library isn't special. Mine was not nominated for anything, and it has been an icon in Rutledge Park for almost a decade now, and probably deserves all the awards. It has received the award as the best Little Free Library in Rutledge Park, which of course is a very hotly sought after commodity. I'm not going to belabor my normal talk, which is 45 minutes to 2 hours on Little Free Libraries, so let's jump into the awards. We came up with 10 amazing categories. And, I need the clicker here, don't I? Okay. So the first, I've jumped ahead. Sorry. Okay, the first category, I gotta get my flow here. So the first category was seed and plant little free libraries. These are particularly great because they help promote food security and seeds and growing. And we had a bunch of interesting nominations. There was sometimes the little free seed library is just a little cubby at the bottom of a book library. Sometimes it's a whole greenhouse on the side of the road. They're all amazing. But the winner, you've already kind of foreshadowed it, was the Yates Street Community Garden Library. Here we go. Yeah, we don't have a drum roll. This one has a story. So this one was actually built by Bruce, who is our Little Free Library builder extraordinaire. This man has built 101 Little Free libraries from upcycled material, and this was a rescue operation. So this little library is by a community garden. It has both books and seeds, and its predecessor had an accident. Entropy aggressively came for it, and overnight Bruce rebuilt it and built this beautiful structure, and it's down on Yates. And one of the great things about these seed libraries is they help, obviously, share seeds with the community. There is something you can all do to help. Our project has delivered over 131,000 books to Little Free Libraries across the region, but we struggle with seeds. Everyone has books at home, but not enough people are collecting seeds. So if there's something you'd like to do, one thing you can do this next fall or during the season when it's appropriate, collect some seeds of native non-invasive plants and drop them off to local seed libraries. They're all the green dots on our map. It would be much appreciated. Okay, the next category is the best board game and puzzle library. So these are exciting because they're not just, little libraries aren't just for books, they're for a whole bunch of other things. And these ones are, again, hotly contested category. My personal favorite is on Donald Street, not necessarily because of the design, because of the people that run it. They help repair puzzles. So if you ever have a puzzle with a missing piece, the people that run the Donald Street Little Free Library, who are amazing, they will, if you drop off a baggie with the pieces around the missing piece, will refurbish the puzzle for you and give it a second lease on life. There is a 3 missing piece maximum. After that, you kind of recycle it. They got me into puzzle repair, and I absolutely love it. You do a puzzle, you fill in the pieces, and you try to see if you can find the missing pieces just based on your own design. But that one came second, and the winner, which is also, again, all amazing, the winner was the Esquimalt Puzzle and Board Game Library. This one, the applause is perfect. This is great. I'm going to add more drum rolls and applause in post afterwards, of course. This one you can find on Bewdley Avenue, which is great. It's on Bewdley and Niver Street. I don't spend time in Esquimalt there often. And the really cool thing about this one is it's a great puzzle and board game library, and it's got a really well curated children's book library next to it with one of the best selections of children's books in the neighborhood. And I think there's about 5 on Bewdley, and in fact, this little library inspired a bunch of other little libraries on the street. There was a stick library for dogs. There was 2 book libraries. It's been a fantastic way, and this is something about Little Free Libraries that's also quite great is they help inspire additional placemaking. They're often the entry point into placemaking. So people start with Little Free Libraries, then they're putting up road murals, then they're building little fairy doors, and next thing you know, they're transforming the city and building community, as Jim was saying. The next library, okay, we're going to go fast here because we got a lot. The next one is the Most Verdant Green Roof. Now, this is a risk. When you put a green roof on top of your Little Free Library, it increases the leak rate, not insignificantly. However, they are spectacular. Most of them are tasteful, demure succulents. There is one down on Belmont that has a full rose bush growing out of its roof, which I think is quite phenomenal. It was nominated, but our winner, friends, was the Eagleview Little Free Library at Eagleview Elementary School. And this one has a fantastic thicket of succulents. And I'm really excited about this one because it's right in front of the school. And I'm going to drop the award, like you can see the school in the background. I'm going to drop the award off at the school and see if we can do like a celebration with the students. And I love engaging young people in these projects. And it's quite luxuriant. I quite like it. In fact, as someone who's starting to get thin on top, I wish we could get a couple extra succulents under the hat here. Okay, and the one thing you'll notice about these awards is they're all spread out across the region. So we have 1,000 Little Free Libraries, and they're not just in like the main core areas or in certain streets. This one's all the way over in, where I wrote this down, it's in View Royal. So we've got ones all around town, and it's really great to see that kind of diversity. There are still some gaps though, of course. The next category is the best literary themed Little Free Library. Now, Little Free Libraries are about community building. I've often described them as coral reefs for community, but they're also about literacy and getting books in people's hands. And we had Little Free Libraries that were inspired by Dr. Seuss, The Yellow Submarine. It counts as literature. I will fight anyone who says otherwise. And a bunch of Little Free Libraries shaped like books and themed with paintings, including one my dad did. But that one didn't win. The winner, ladies and gentlemen, was the Wonderland Little Free Library just around the corner here on Pembroke. And this one is literally a down the rabbit hole situation. It's Alice in Wonderland theme. You've got mushrooms. You've got the hookah smoking caterpillar. You've got playing cards. You would paint roses red if you could. And there's even a little Cheshire cat. So it is one of our very clever and well-designed ones. And yeah, you can visit it on the way home on Pembroke. All right, it's on Pembroke and Oregon Avenue. All right, the next category, we're cruising along here, number 5. Now this one is very subjective. Now obviously this one is drenched in literature. The next category is the cutest Little Free Library. Again, people have differences of opinion. I study sea cucumbers. I think they're adorable and cute. Not everyone agrees. There's a donkey dung sea cucumber in Mexico. I think it's adorable. Someone named it incorrectly. Now, we had Little Free Libraries that were submitted here. We had some really cool ones. Actually, one that was auctioned off at our 1,000 Little Free Library celebration was nominated. Tiny ones that were made as Christmas tree ornaments by Bruce. We had some quirky ones down at Quadro Village. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, was the Snoopy Little Free Library. Now, this is the Snoopy Little Free Library at the 1200 block on Richardson Street, not to be confused with 4 other Snoopy-themed Little Free Libraries in town. So it's not the #1 most popular theme, but it is a very popular theme. So yeah, this one was a great one to celebrate. And this was also built by Ray from I Used to Be a Palette, who's another local Little Free Library builder. He does it commercially, and you'll see a couple of other ones coming up as a bit of a teaser. His are quite spectacular as well. Next one, speaking of spectacular, is the Most Creative Little Free Library. Now, Little Free Libraries, like placemaking, is a creative outlet for people, as Jim was saying, to help shape their communities. And we had some really good ones. So we had one that was just around the corner. It's in the process of being moved. It's inspired by Roy Lichtenstein. We had the Buccaneer in Esquimalt, which is shaped like a pirate ship, which I think is quite cool, very creative. There was a bunch of ones. There was one in Baxter over in Saanich that looks like something out of a Dr. Seuss novel. But friends, our winner was The Art of Reading. Now this one is over on Wordsworth Street, and if you were at our 1,000th Little Free Library celebrate, right there, you were here! Oh my god, yeah, Gary, I didn't see you! So Gary, I'm going to tell you about your Little Free Library. You can tell me. I'm stuck in the back there. So this Little Free Library is found at the 3300 block. Now the pressure is on here, I can't mess up. This Little Free Library is by Wood and Glass Art by Gary, who's right there. The amazing thing is he remade this in 2022, and each of those books, there's 96 of them, he hand painted them onto glass. Gary, you picked a bunch of really cool books. It's sci-fi, topical books, fantasy. We got to see this one in person. Well, you can go see it at Wordsworth, of course, but it also traveled to our 1,000th Little Free Library delivery. It's got brass fixtures. It has a rotating bookshelf inside, so you can get the entire full experience. It's definitely an icon.
You're not calling that lazy.
Oh, yeah, no. Of course not. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. No, it's got, we don't call it that at all. No, it's a rotating book experience. But this was Gary's creation, and well earned, my friend. We have a plaque for you. You're our first person who's here. This is great. Yes. And this one, I mean, this one is purely iconic, and if you could just walk around the whole thing and experience it, it's phenomenal. Thank you for bringing this into the world, and well earned as the most creative Little Free Library. Okay, we have a few more cruising along here, friends. Now, this next category is, if you are up to date on your sort of pop culture, you'll be familiar with the term. It's Best Little Free Library with a bird on it. We thought, put a bird on it, it's great. Now, we had very strict rules here. The bird had to be painted, sculptural, or naturally introduced to the Little Free Library. You weren't allowed to coax or place a living bird on the Little Free Library in a way that would somehow encumber the freedom of the bird. It had to alight naturally upon the Little Free Library. There's a ton of Little Free Libraries with birds on them, including a Little Free Library that's called Put a Bird on It. That one was nominated but did not win. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's Put a Bird on It Little Free Library is the Baba Yaga books. Now, this one is giving off what I guess the kids would call bird energy. We've got the beautiful languorous bird legs, as well as an actual bird that was placed, rather alighted naturally upon this Little Free Library. This is a work of art that you can find up in North Saanich, and I haven't actually visited it in person. It's a bit of a bike ride, but it is absolutely adorable. It was nominated for 2 different categories, and I'm so glad that it officially has multiple levels of bird, which is great.
I presume he's also the person who produced the one that's in Oak Bay,
I don't know, actually.
because there's another Baba Yaga one.
It's
In
I
Oak Bay.
often, if someone submits a Little Free Library and doesn't name it, I just make up a name for it. And often I'm not very clever, and sometimes I need to be a bit more clever. It might be, I don't know, actually. Yeah. This is one of the great things about little libraries. When they first started, you could tell who built every single one. Now it's just a free-for-all, and there's amazing creativity coming into the world. Birds notwithstanding, or with extra birds. Okay, a few more categories, and I'm very conscious of the time. So the next one is, and this is controversial. We're library book people. We like a well-organized Little Free Library, but they get messy. Entropy, children, passing birds. So we had the nomination for the best organized Little Free Library. Now, this one is, again, a little bit controversial because there are some actual librarians running Little Free Libraries, and you can tell. Like, there's one in the Swimall that wasn't nominated, that's a barracks box, and each shelf has a label for what it's supposed to be. There's one in Saanich, near Gorge Road, where it's only fantasy sci-fi novels. And I dropped off a non-fantasy sci-fi novel, and I was very quickly corrected. There's another one also around the corner from that is incredibly curated, where each shelf has different categories by size and type. Anyways, again, controversial, but the Little Free Library that is deemed the best organized is that little blue library that can be found down on West Saanich Road. This Little Free Library should not be confused with the Little Blue Library. It is that Little Blue Library. There are 2 different versions, again, showing the creativity of Little Free Libraries in the region. And it's just incredibly well curated. And you can follow it, speaking of Instagram, you can follow it on Instagram. And I love when people bring their Little Free Libraries and their placemaking projects together and live on social media. Okay, friends, 2 more to go. We're in the home stretch here, and you've been an amazing audience. Thank you for your time. This is Seal's Titan. So the next category is a Little Free Library that looks like something else. Now, Little Free Libraries come in all shapes and sizes. A lot of them are box-shaped, Little Free Library-shaped. We had ones that were nominated that looked like lighthouses, grain elevators, tiny homes. There was a lot of construction by Ray from I Used to Be a Palette. There was one that was shaped like a window, so that you kind of open up and it's stepping into a window, which I thought was quite nice. There was one around the corner that was nominated that was shaped like a cat experience. But the winner of this year's Best Little Free Library that looks like something else is the Beckley Cottage Book Box on Perry Street. Yeah, this one is breathtaking. Yeah, for those of you who are watching at home, there was a gasp. This is one of Ray's creations. He's from I Used to Be a Palette. This was upcycled from bits of palette. This is the Heritage Home. It's the, here we go, I've got notes on this one too. It's a Beckley Cottage. It was built in 1901 by R.B. Jackson, and in 1980 it was moved from Simcoe Street to its current location on Perry Street. It's now a childcare facility, and it is, I mean, it's a perfect miniature replica of its house, and it's just, who doesn't love whimsy and adorableness that you can see in our day-to-day experience? That's part of placemaking. You know, Jim was talking a bit about what placemaking does to our communities. One of the things that I love is it just adds whimsy to the urban landscape, and that just adds a small smile to our face. All right, friends, speaking of smiles to our face, we're at the last one. The last category is Little Free Library, Best Upcycled or Reused Little Free Library. Now, this is great because we love reusing things, we love recycling, and we love people doing, creative solutions to weird problems like, how do I get rid of this cupboard, or this old clock doesn't work anymore, or I have a kayak that needs to be repurposed, or barracks boxes or china hutches. Little Free Libraries live in this world. And so the winner, friends, this year of the final category, the Best Upcycled Little Free Library is the Blue Kayak Books. Woo! This one is in front of the Best Coast Outfitters on Yates Street. It's another one of Bruce's amazing creations. Basically, The folks who run the kayak shop said, can you cut a kayak in half and turn it into a little free library? Bruce said, yes, I think I can. And he cut a kayak in half and turned it into a little free library. It is definitely waterproof, I can say that much, and a delightful example of the creative ways that people turn things into little free libraries. On your way out, I'll end with this. There is a little free library just down the road for yarn that is shaped like a refrigerator, handcrafted to look exactly like a vintage refrigerator and full of yarn and knitting products. And the last thing I'll say is on your way out as well, we have bookmarks. The aforementioned Lauren, one of our organization's founders, just had a book come out. And so we've been dropping off bookmarks promoting his amazing book of poetry to little free libraries. So please take 3 bookmarks and drop them off in your neighborhood to help promote his amazing and actually really powerful book. It's pretty heavy poetry, but it's really well written. And then we also have some zines from another local author that is Nia, who is writing some really cool, sort of totally different kinds of spooky fantasy. Grab some of those, drop them off to your little free library, and help promote local authors, which is another great thing that little free libraries do. So the last thing I'll say is we have plaques that we'll be delivering to all the Little Free Library people. Gary gets to pick us up today. And I'm hoping we'll run this again in the future. Stay tuned for more. We'll put out a blog with all the different nominations. And thanks so much for everyone who voted and to the amazing board for helping make this happen. And for the folks who did all the heavy lifting on the back end, there was a lot of heavy lifting and some weird tech problems that we had to solve. So we really appreciate that. And thanks for helping Placemake.